I got a job when I was in high school. The employer was a friend of my father's. I saved most of the money I'd earned to buy what I wanted since my parents could not afford it. Though they were not rich, they were wealthy enough to teach me the value of material goods that I could acquire on my own. I didn't mind this approach and bought myself a PlayStation 4 with a few games. Later, my parents asked me to share the game console with my younger brother and sister. I agreed, and we played mostly when they were free from school or already asleep. When I graduated high school, my parents announced that I would have to start paying rent. This was unexpected, since I was planning to go to university in the fall and was hoping to earn some money over the summer so I could work less while studying. So I tried my best both in school and at work. My job consisted of unloading trucks before classes started. It was hard because I had to go to bed as early as 7:00 p.m. to make it to work early in the morning. After graduation, I found a job in another province and had already started my adaptation and online studies. When I graduated, my parents threw me a graduation party and tried to hand me a check for the amount of rent I had paid with a small percentage. I stared at the check for about a minute and started laughing. All I could think of was how I had lost my social life during university because I was working all the time. I didn't have the opportunity to invest like my friends did. I asked my parents if they also helped my sister. They answered in the negative because she was not working during her studies. I tore up the check and told them that we could only talk again if they compensated me for the lost sleep and lack of a social life during my 4 years of university and summer vacation. I also advised my younger brother not to go to work to avoid a similar situation. I went up to my room and packed my computer, a few articles of clothing, my PlayStation 4 and toiletries. My parents had already managed to buy a new £5 for my brother and sister and had been yelling at me the whole time. I warned them that if they tried to stop me or touch me, I would call the police. After loading my car, which is registered in my name and for which I had paid in full, I went to my friend's parents' house. There I had a nervous breakdown, but they allowed me to stay as their daughter had gone to study in another city. I blocked the contacts of my parents, brother, and sister in my phone. After that, I called my supervisor and informed him that I was sick and would not be able to go to work. Last week, he responded with understanding and even laughed, expressing surprise that I continued to work so close to graduation. A couple days after I left, Grandpa called me. We went together to see a friend named Timmy, who was supportive and listened to all my worries about how my parents were taking away money that could have improved my life. I didn't even have time for a relationship. All my romantic attention at university was focused on a work colleague, especially on the weekends when her ex-husband was picking up the kids. He claimed that my parents wanted what was best for me, thinking they were helping me. However, I felt that because of their actions I had lost 4 years of fun, parties, and social events that I was too tired to go to. I did not participate in all of the activities and programs they were funding for my sister. It also became clear that they intended to provide the same support for my brother in the future. Grandpa expressed his understanding and gave me a hug. Despite his age, it would have been impossible for me to free myself from his embrace even if I had tried. He asked if I needed money to start a new job. I replied no, as I was unwilling to accept anything that might come from my parents. He handed me a cashier's check, the amount of which was 3 times the amount my parents had taken. He advised me to use this money as I saw fit in my new life. He added that it was not part of my inheritance, but just a gift from him. My grandmother wished my friends would think I was stupid for tearing up the check. Most of my friends were supportive, recognizing my irritation with my parents as justified. One relative called me to express his opinion that my behavior was unacceptable and I should apologize to my parents. I thanked them for the call or message and then added them to my blacklist. I now identify with karma and don't think I'm wrong. However, I may be too close to the situation to objectively assess what I am missing. I admit that it was imprudent of me to tell my parents to keep all the money they took from me during my time at university. You are not an idiot, as they may have imagined. The lifestyle they imposed on you has oppressed you for years. They took no steps to change that and decided to bring it up at a party they organized. In this way, they also sought to be recognized as wonderful parents. Obviously, they would never treat your sister the same way, which seems like a clear bias. You are apparently the oldest child. They thought they were teaching you the value of hard work. You saw how destructive and damaging it was and decided you wouldn't do that to the 2 younger kids, but they never changed their approach. You yourself pointed out that the money they gave you wasn't worth the missed opportunities. After all, aside from being able to buy themselves things, it's unlikely that they even plan to give you that money back. They were actively hurting you. It cost you not only money, but also opportunities to build networks of contacts, develop friendships, possibly meet your future wife, and more. I once heard a first child referred to as a burnt pancake. The worst part is that they think they are helping you. They want to keep their reputation at the expense of what you've become, but it's your credit. Bravo to you, and congratulations on graduating and starting this new journey in your life. I hope it will be everything you wish it to be, and wish you the best of luck. Next story. My brother insisted that I get close to his girlfriend Mary, whom they had been dating for 3 months. I tried to be open. I had dinner parties and tried to share her hobbies. However, to be honest, it wasn't easy to get along with her. Personally, I thought she was a bit snobbish. She complimented my designer bag, but when she heard about its low price, she said, "I'd take it back." Mary believed I lacked culture and sophistication, something she was trying to bring into my life. This year, my wedding became a major topic of discussion in the family, and my brother really wanted his girlfriend Mary to be actively involved in the preparations. Since they had only been dating for 3 months, it was hard for me to accept her as part of our circle, but my brother insisted on her presence at my bachelorette party. The event was planned to be modest, but Mary suggested something more lavish. However, my finances limited the scope of the party. When I was left to my decision, Mary informed me that she would not be able to join due to unexpected circumstances that same weekend. However, my friends decided to surprise me by organizing a great weekend. They used their connections and perks. For example, a friend negotiated spa discounts and another negotiated hotel reservations. I was happily surprised and didn't know about the plans in advance. The difficulty arose after we posted the photos online. Mary saw them and took offense, claiming that I had purposely not informed her. She stated that she would have changed her plans if she had known how special the event would turn out to be. I felt uncomfortable, suspecting that my friends may have intentionally failed to notify Mary. They explained that they decided everything after her refusal because she was busy. My brother continues to insist that I should have taken more initiative and personally notified Mary of the upcoming event. You don't have to give in to your brother's wishes, do you? You don't have to become best friends with his arrogant girlfriend. You invited her to your bachelorette party, but she declined, suggesting other plans. Your friend organized a spa weekend for you, and it's not your problem if Mary is too busy for that kind of fun. If she was busy for a night at Dave & Buster's, she won't have time for a spa weekend. Your brother is wrong to think that his girlfriend means anything to anyone but him. Mary says she's not that interested in rearranging her plans for you, but she is interested in making time for her own pleasure. That's the gist of it all. I'm looking forward to the Bridezilla stories when Mary tries to get your brother to propose to her at your Uncle Opie's wedding. Of course, your brother misses the attention to the red flags this behavior raises. If she can't build a relationship with his sister, she is clearly not invested in his family. You don't owe her anything. I hope he realizes this soon and is grateful that your wedding photos won't have her in them. Now I want to tell a different story. My husband and I have been married for 6 years. We have 2 children of our own. My husband also has 2 children from a previous marriage. These children were less than 2 years old when their parents divorced. I met my future husband 2 years after his divorce. After 2 years together, we were married. My stepchildren are now twins, a boy and a girl. We also have a preschooler and a toddler. My stepchildren do not consider my biological children as their siblings. They only recognize each other. Although they do not see me as a parent, they are respectful and well-behaved. It has been hard to hear from the children that they don't have other siblings. The age difference between children can play a role too, but I know of cases where siblings with a big age difference find common ground and become close. A few weeks ago, I learned that my husband's ex-wife was extremely negative about the idea of a blended family. She has been openly expressing her views since she divorced my husband. She taught her children that they had no real brothers or sisters in our blended family. After the divorce, she was left alone. My husband never told me about these views, although he tried to secretly combat them by interacting with my stepchildren. I learned about it by accident when my family and I attended a dance recital. During the event, we found ourselves sitting next to my foster child's mom. In the conversation that ensued, I'm not sure if it was my stepson or my husband who started it, but she clearly told them that my boys were not their siblings. I was shocked by this. She noticed my reaction and added that I wasn't part of their family either, that I was no one to her children. She also said that my husband has always been aware of her views and would not apologize for it. After the concert, my husband admitted that he was indeed aware of her views and suspected that the children might share those same sentiments because she had indoctrinated them for a long time. I expressed my displeasure, pointing out that this was unfair to both me and our two boys, and that such information should have been discussed before our wedding. I brought up the fact that I knew what rejection felt like and asked why he hadn't shared this with me earlier. My husband replied that he couldn't change those circumstances and didn't understand why I was blaming him. He said my behavior was unreasonable and called me an idiot. You are not an idiot. She did put you in a position where the kids couldn't bond. Your husband kept that influence from you. I'm sorry you have to deal with that. I hope your younger boys don't develop resentment that their older siblings don't recognize them. I am not excusing the behavior of your husband's ex-wife. That behavior still raises questions. I wonder what happened to her, perhaps when her stepfather joined their family, causing her to have such extreme resentment toward her adoptive parents and step-siblings. Perhaps he mistreated her and her biological parent didn't intervene. Imagine you have a time machine and you go back 4 years. He tells you this a week or two before the wedding. What do you do with that information? Do you still marry him? Does his ex-wife's highly irrational stance on purebred siblings affect your wedding plans? Or at what point in your honeymoon or pregnancy would you rather find out about your new husband's ex-wife's attitude toward you? I don't think you're an idiot. I sympathize with your husband because I've been in a similar position before. Sometimes none of that matters until it's too late. My next story. This week I had to undergo a physical examination at the hospital. I was instructed not to eat for 24 hours before the procedure. The test was delayed for 4 hours. As a result, by the time I got home, I had not eaten for over 32 to 34 hours. Because of this, I felt very hungry and tired. I decided to order food. I asked my girlfriend if she wanted anything, but she declined. She offered to cook at home, but I expressed my preference for store-bought food so we could eat separately. Despite her desire to cook together, I insisted and ordered food just for myself. She decided not to cook and stated that she didn't want anything. When the food was brought to me and I started eating, she came over and asked if she could try some. I was surprised as I had asked her several times before if she wanted to order something. She waited until I started enjoying my food to request from me. I reminded her that I had ordered the food in the first place because of my hunger, to which she replied that she was hungry too since she hadn't eaten. I explained that I had no desire to cook for her and that didn't mean she could have my food. Suggested that she order her own or cook something herself, as I didn't want to share her order. She accused me of being selfish and claimed I had enough food to share. She claimed she wasn't asking for much, but I, according to her, was unfair and acted like an idiot by refusing to share the food I'd ordered. You didn't act wrong. Your girlfriend, on the other hand, showed indecision. You offered her several options: order the food like you did, or cook something for herself. She initially chose the latter option, but then changed her mind. You expected her to show determination, but she didn't want to cook despite her initial decision. You were recovering from a procedure during which you were forced to starve yourself. This made your desire to eat seem even more justified. The situation was made worse by the fact that she accused you of being selfish, which may look like an attempt to shift responsibility onto you. This is just one example out of many that shows how her behavior can be self-centered. It's important to reevaluate this relationship. You shouldn't pay attention to comments about food. You haven't eaten in almost a day and a half, and your girlfriend assured you several times that she didn't want anything until you ordered. When you're feeling hungry and irritable, the last thing you want to do is share a meal. Plus, she could have cooked something before you got home, especially knowing you were hungry. A story that really surprised me. I am 36 years old and my husband is 37. After 14 years together, over 6 months ago, he asked for an open relationship. This idea did not inspire me, and it turned out that he was already involved in an affair with a coworker. I tried to at least set some boundaries for this open relationship, but he insisted on his own, ignoring my attempts. After 2 months, he informed me of his desire to divorce me for another woman with whom we were still living. I filed for divorce for practical reasons, even though I realized it was inevitable. We separated peacefully until last week. Shortly after the divorce was announced, I unexpectedly met someone. Over the past couple weeks, this has developed into a romantic relationship, but there has been no physical contact and will not be in the near future. I assumed my husband suspected something, but wasn't going to bring it up until we were separated. I was on the phone with the man when my husband barged in to ask about dinner. He was furious and silent because he overheard a conversation that he probably thought was scandalous. I was shocked at his reaction because he had already shown his approval for this kind of communication. Perhaps he really believes I'm cheating on him. I've never seen him so upset before, and I'm sorry if I really did something wrong. I'm sorry, but are you seriously questioning your actions? All this after he asked for a divorce. You're a bad girl now. You should be pining for him in a convent for the rest of your life. He's just upset because he didn't appreciate you or think of anyone else who might want you. He thought he was special and deserved his attention, and you didn't appreciate him in his own twisted mind. So he had to look for someone else. He's trying to blame you for doing the same thing he did. The difference is that you did it after he demanded an open marriage and divorce. Make sure you find your own lawyer and start getting your own ducks in a row. Make sure his cheating ass is exposed to your family before he writes the narrative and makes you look like the bad guy. Talk to your attorney first so he can tell you how family should be informed. But remember, you are still legally married, so don't give him anything he can use in the divorce. Even in a no-fault divorce, he can use it just to help. With his alimony, it's better to be safe than sorry, so if you have any evidence of his infidelity prior to your open relationship agreement, get it and keep it just in case. Don't let him make you feel bad about yourself. That's a power move. He shouldn't do that. Keep that power over you more. Good luck.